You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You can't handle the truth!
Well, we're giving you the Michigan Sports Truth, the show that detects, exposes, and reveals actual and hidden facts, truth, research, and statistics about all the Detroit and Michigan sports teams that the mainstream media doesn't want you to know, whether fans like it or not. No junk, no entertainment, no homerism, no coddling, no pop culture, no opinions, no shilling, and no fluff. Head over to our website at michigansportstruth.weebly.com, follow us on Twitter at Michigan_truth, and like our Facebook page, The Michigan Sports Truth. Also listen to us on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes. The Michigan Sports Truth podcast does not represent or defame any of the teams it covers. It only detects, exposes, and reveals honest, actual, and hidden truth, facts, and statistics about them.
And welcome to episode 324 of the Week in Review edition of the Michigan Sports Truth podcast. I'm Taylor Phillips, along with Buck Geno. Follow me on Twitter personally at DT2Phillips. Follow Buck Geno on Twitter at BuckGeno3, 3 I's for Roman numerals. Got a lot to talk about once again. And this time we're going to touch on the Detroit Pistons here.
Left sideline, 3, and he answers.
Pistons public address announcer John Mason is retiring. That's what I heard from Louis Tenor's show early last night. And that, the Mason for short, he we want to salute him, but he used to be entertaining to the fans with a Detroit basketball call, and he decided to hang it up. Those were the rumors, and one of those Louis Tenor announced it that John Mason is calling it quits. So I was shocked to hear it when I listened to Lewis's show when I called it on Blog Talk Radio, and I decided to chime in on it. So what say you on John Mason's retirement?
Well, I think that bears a little bit of mention simply because, the rebirth of the Pistons franchise in the early 2000s, his name was his voice, I should say, was synonymous with that, culminating with the 2004 title and also 2005 finals, their 6 straight conference final appearances. A lot of that, when you're talking about the games themselves, John Mason was the voice behind that. So a lot of Pistons fans have great memories, not only of those games and those players, but also of Mason. Much like Ken Calvert back in the days when I was a lad, when the Pistons were at their heyday, the Bad Boys, when he was the PA announcer. And when John Mason became the public address announcer, and the Pistons started to head towards that championship season, started to build with the 2002 team, going to the 2003 team, going to the conference finals, and just getting blown out at that point by the Nets, starting their 6-year run of going to the conference finals. But like I said, John Mason, for a lot of fans, was the soundtrack or the voice behind those Pistons victories and losses during that time, and that they were at the height of the NBA. So, it's something that you would think that it's going to happen sooner rather than later. It's surprising that it's happening now, just simply because of the fact that we are probably less than 3 months away from the start of the season, and he's now retired. So, maybe health is a part of it, maybe other obligations. I'm not going to sit here and speculate as to what it was that prompted him to retire today or make that decision, but it's it's something for the Pistons. It's a passing of the torch, so to speak. Just like players come in town and leave town, other people like Mason make a mark as well. So we wish him well in his retirement, and it'll be interesting to see who the next PA announcer is going to be.
Yeah, that's a question.
Those jobs are divvied up in-house. Simply put, it's probably going to be somebody that was doing that work for other things at LCA, or somebody that was doing similar work for the Pistons, and they'll probably bump somebody up. That's what happened with the Red Wings when Bud Lynch finally retired. They brought somebody in that had already been filling in and doing that work. Name escapes me right now, but basically they promoted from within. PA announcer is something that it's kind of a thankless job. You kind of have to make your mark, and I know a lot of people that have done it. I have done it on occasion, and like I said, it's kind of a thankless job because you're the one that's kind of the MC for the night. And I think back to those Pistons teams of the early 2000s and all the way into the late 2000s, that decade. That voice, that cadence, those sayings were synonymous with the Pistons. And so, as I said before, all good things have to come to an end at some point. And John Mason today are announcing his retirement this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see who they bring in now. But the Pistons, they're still not done changing things in the off season. So they literally have changed almost everything except for the players for the most part. And so it'll be interesting to see who takes the mic in LCA next season.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on what is your analysis on the Pistons hiring Denver Nuggets assistant coach Micah Nori as assistant coach to fill the coaching staff?
Well, they had to fill out the coaching staff. Blaine Casey was looking for guys that he could round out the coaching staff with. Micah Nori was, as you mentioned previously, with the Denver Nuggets. The one thing I'll say is coaches like to hire their guys, right? Well, Micah Nori, before he went to the Nuggets, was the lead scout for the Toronto Raptors. And he was promoted at that point to the assistant coach spot on the bench. And he was an assistant coach for Dwayne Casey for 2 seasons, and also when Ed Stefanski was in Toronto as well. So you do the math. Ed Stefanski, Dwayne Casey worked with him for 2 years. He's doing a job somewhere else. They need to hire somebody else to fill out the staff. Well, let's hire a guy that we know. And when it comes to coaching, especially filling out coaching staffs and even scouting staffs at that point, the devil you know is always seems to be the path that is taken. So Micah Nori, even though it's not necessarily a surprise, I'm sure that they had to work out some things for him to come to Detroit. But his wife is from Michigan, and it's kind of a hometown for him. So it's not a big surprise that he was hired. It's more the fact that the timing, he probably wanted to check in with Denver, see what they had to offer. But Denver also a team, that is kind of in flux. When you talk about their roster, so he's leaving one situation where he's less than familiar, and he's getting back together. The band's getting back together, so to speak. Quote a very old Blues Brothers. They're getting the band back together, and Micah Nori was part of that band, and so he'll go and be one of the assistant coaches for Dwayne Casey's staff, and it all looks to be symbiotic and agreeable. They probably just had to work out the final paperwork as far as he was under contract with the Nuggets. He probably had to resign or take a different job. When you're talking about assistant coaches, those contracts really are ironclad. Probably had to go through some of the legal language and make sure everybody was good. The other thing is he didn't want to probably jump in the middle of Summer League, because when you're talking about Summer League as they're winding it down, that's an important time for guys that aren't the head coach. Because usually they're the ones that are coaching the team or have increased roles with the Summer League teams. So he got a little taste of that, and he didn't want to leave while he was doing that with the Denver Nuggets. And now that summer league, like I said, is winding down. Teams are getting eliminated. Now Nori can fully come over to the Pistons and join Casey's staff.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to go along with our What's Your Grades segment along the way, as we do usually.
Pencils down, everyone. It's time to find out what's your grade.
So what's your grade on Nori?
I'm going to give this one a B. I don't know a ton about him. He's a guy that was a scout, and then he was promoted to assistant coach under Dwayne Casey. So obviously there's some talent there. He seems to be the guy that is more of, he's probably going to do a lot of advanced work. He's going to be preparing a lot of game film, reports, and strategies and breakdowns. I feel like that's going to be his main drive as part of the Detroit Pistons coaching staff, is to be the advanced guy and work up the scouting reports on teams coming in or teams that they're going out to see. Those are all, every assistant has important jobs, and I feel like with the fact that he's been a head scout before for an NBA franchise, plus the fact that he's an assistant coach, he's been an assistant coach, I feel like that'll be his job. I'm just going to give it a solid B simply because I don't know that much more about him. It's not a bad hire, but when you're talking about hiring assistant coaches, unless they develop a brand new offense or bring completely new concepts to the team, assistant coaches are a little bit less heralded than head coaches, obviously. So Dwayne Casey filling out a staff with guys that he knows, and Micah Nori is one of them. So I'll go with a B simply because it looks like he's got good pedigree and he's had some success.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we'll continue on, like I said, with our What's Your Grade segment. And we're going to continue that right now with the Detroit Lions.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Breaking news. Breaking news like an hour or two ago, the Lions reported from Adam Schefter will not extend defensive end Ziggy Ansah before the franchise tag deadline approaches on Monday. And Ansah has already been tagged as a franchise player. So I want you to give the audience how the exact whole thing works.
Well, obviously, for the NFL, there's thousands of tags and statuses and everything else that affects the cap. But what it boils down to is this. Ziggy Ansah was given the franchise tag by the Lions, which means he has to be paid within the top 5 of his position. And so he'll earn approximately $18.6 million, I believe, next year. And that's a one-year deal or one-year tender. And you kind of have to play under it. Now, guys can say they're going to hold out and want a long-term extension instead. And that typically is something that happens because it pressures the other side, the player side, into signing a contract because they've already got you under contract for the next year. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to get paid, but at the same time, it kind of leads players into the fact that, hey, I've already got this much money, now let's see what I can actually get. And it can swing both ways, but basically it's designed to allow teams to not necessarily circumvent the salary cap, but lock in players that they may potentially lose to free agency when they can hold them around. Now, some teams use it as a business move. I, being a Bears fan, remember when the Bears franchise tagged Matt Forte for 2 years and then chose not to re-sign him after that. And then he went to the Jets for a sizable amount more than he was going to be getting with the Bears. So teams can use it as a business move as well because Forte, when he signed that new contract, was going towards the wrong end of 30. This is something that Detroit now, with Ansah, they're not forced to extend him. The talks probably happen. That doesn't mean he won't be extended later on, but as the season and camp draws near, they weren't getting anywhere. So what this means to me is that they're just going to kick this can down the road until next offseason and see if Ansah's worthy of the tag again, which I don't think they would use the tag twice on the defensive end, because if they use it a second time on him, the price for him becomes significantly higher than it would be this year. Number two, I don't know if he's going to be able to get that type of money on the open market that he thinks he's going to be able to get this year. His injury history has given the Lions pause, and well, it should, for signing a long-term extension. So he's got that going against him. Now, that doesn't mean some other team is not ready to scratch him a check right now, but it's going to really depend. This is kind of a make or break year for Ziggy Ansah, and I think this really speaks to not only the urgency that he's going to feel, but also, again, you're talking about guys like Bob Quinn, Matt Patricia, other guys in that Lions organization, that new look front office. This is kind of the Patriot way, and the Patriots value their players as much as they can give. And this is something that another tactic that a team like New England has used before, where they're going to franchise tag a guy and then they get rid of him because they've gotten everything they can. They've wrung everything out of that towel that they can. And Ziggy Ansah is going to be free to sign with another team next offseason. So it's way too early to tell exactly what's going to happen with this, but what it really boils down to for Ziggy Ansah is that the Lions are ready to scratch him a big check that he thinks he should be able to get as far as the long-term extension. Mm-hmm. The franchise tag, even though it pays him more than what the Lions think he's probably worth, is still relatively in line with some of the premier pass rushers and what they're getting, because again, it's based on the top 5 salaries in the league at your position. So top 5 defensive ends, you look at that, Ziggy Ansah is going to earn $18.6 million this year. If he doesn't produce, he probably goes into free agency, and it's going to be a tough sell for him to get a deal, an injury-plagued guy who hasn't produced. If he has a monster year, he might price himself out of the Lions lineup, but then the Lions lose nothing because they didn't have to sign a long-term extension. They got good production at a pretty decent value, even though he's getting paid top 5 money. If he has a monster year, he's probably going to produce a lot of guys that are making more than him. So that's a win for them as well. So I really don't know exactly what the plans are for the Lions. They probably hope that they get a monster year out of him, and he prices himself out of their price range, and then he goes and signs somewhere else and probably doesn't continue that pace. So I don't think this is a win. Or I'm sorry, I don't think this is really a losing situation for the Lions. Really, the only person that can lose out of this is Ziggy Ansah, because he's the one that has to prove his worth. And if he doesn't, like I said, it's going to be really tough for him next offseason, because I definitely don't think the Lions can franchise him again, letting him go on the open market. If he struggles or is hurt again, teams are going to be given pause, or at least they're going to write those checks for a lot smaller number than Ziggy Ansah hopes they are.
Yeah, absolutely. So, WJR fires Jim Brandstatter, the now former color commentator of the Lions radio network. And the reason for that is Cumulus Media, WJR's parent company, is bankrupt. That's what Jeff Moss is telling us here at the Michigan Sports Truth. On Twitter at DeadSportsRag, I asked him, he told me, and Brandstatter was earning more money than Lomas Brown is about to starting this upcoming fall. Lomas Brown, the new color commentator for the Lions radio network. So Jim Brandstatter, he was great, except he complained about the officiating way too many times. That's my only criticism that I have for Jim, but he was great nonetheless. We'll miss him.
Well, I'm not a Lions fan. I mean, I'll be Christmas at that, obviously, but
you're a Bears fan, I know.
I mean, Jim Brandstatter. I'm a Michigan fan, so I get to hear Jim Brandstatter anyway.
There you go.
He struggles with play-by-play, I will tell you that when he was the color man for Frank Beckman, when he was Dan Miller's color man, when he's been Mark Champion's color man, even Frank Beckman's color man, if you can remember that far back. Jim Brandstatter, even though he's a fan, even though he's paid by the station that is under contract with the Lions to produce the broadcast, so I'm not going to say he's pressured into saying a lot of good things about the Lions, but it doesn't hurt. He does a very good job. Mm-hmm. And when you listen to the games with him and Dan Miller, he probably is a little bit of a homer, but he's not so much that you can't stand to listen to it. Because, again, these guys are representing the team. They're not going to get guys going on there complaining and talking about how bad the teams are, who's doing poorly. But at the same time, if somebody made a mistake, or if a player did something that wasn't the best, Brandstatter would mention it, and he'd talk about it. So you learned a little bit about the game when he talked about what was going on in the field. And he and Dan Miller give a good broadcast. Like I said, I'm not a Lions fan, so it's harder for me to judge exactly where they are on the homer scale. But, living in Michigan, that's just a reality. You're going to have to listen to those guys more than I'm going to be able to listen to the team that I follow. And listening to a good handful of Lions games over the years, mostly when they played the Bears, but at other times as well. Jim Brandstatter, as a color guy for the Lions, did the job, and I thought he did it well. And I think that it's kind of backhanded the way that WJR went about getting rid of him. Yeah, he was fired, but as we've mentioned before, when you don't have a contract, it's kind of hard to get fired when you're not really under contract. Fired for him really means that they didn't renew his contract, and that Lomas Brown came in, and they're going to pay him significantly less.
So technically he was laid off.
Yeah, he just wasn't renewed. You can use the term fired because they're not bringing him back, but what it amounts to is they didn't want to pay him the amount that he was due because
they couldn't afford it.
He has, if you have somebody that's under contract, it's kind of hard to go to them and say, hey, can you do that for less money this year? Jim Brandstatter really is a hardworking guy. He does the Michigan broadcasts. He did for years, did Michigan replay. And he would have to do that, and then he'd have to go to the Lions game. So the guy is literally on the go from Saturday morning until Sunday or Monday night. And, he did his job well. It's just a sad thing for a lot of Lions fans to see him go. But as I mentioned, the real enemy or the real villain in this story is WJR, because they're going to bring in Lomas Brown, who's going to do it for a lot less. And not begrudging Lomas Brown getting to do color for his former team, but the fact of the matter is he's doing it for less. And WJR never had any indication that they weren't going to bring him back. There was no talks about it. It probably blindsided Jim Brandstatter because he hadn't done anything wrong.
No, not his fault.
He probably was expecting to walk into that contract negotiation and say, okay, let's do this again. So, like I said, it sucks for a lot of Lions fans that listened to him over the years. And, it's sad. But like I said, he's not going to go missing. He's doing the Michigan broadcasts, and so you'll still be able to hear him. But it's just kind of sad that the Lions and WJR actually felt that they need to go a different direction. And the way that they did it, it's radio. That's how it goes. Just kind of, they thought that maybe they could slip that in there, but it's just a sad situation for him, and it was something he enjoyed doing, obviously. And that's a tough gig. That's a tough way to know that your gig's gone.
Yeah, and they're only trying to save money. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with his on-air product. As a color guy, I really do think that he does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So obviously they're just trying to save themselves some money, and they so far have accomplished that.
Right. So, Cumulus has got a lot of work to do to get themselves out of bankruptcy. Meantime,
Touchdown, MSU! Valentine for the win!
Michigan State University, the home of the Spartans, is going to name interim athletic director Bill Beekman the permanent athletic director on Monday.
Careful what you wish for.
So they're going to have a new permanent athletic director after the former athletic director Mark Hollis resigned. So Bill Beekman will be a fresh new face for the green and white.
Well, a fresh new face as far as his office placard's concerned. I mean, Bill Beekman,
Right.
They talked about this national search that they were going to do, and they ended up hiring the guy that was already sitting in their backyard. And a lot of people that follow MSU alums, a lot of people are fine with this choice, not because of Bill Beekman necessarily, but because they said they were going to do a national search, and they ended up hiring the guy that was sitting there all along. There wasn't a lot said about who was interviewing for the MSU job. I know they talked to Pittsburgh AD Heather Leich, who was formerly from Eastern Michigan University. And they had some preliminary conversations with her. But there wasn't a lot said about who they were looking to tag as AD, as far as bringing in people for interviews and making that, I guess, public, or at least people finding out about who they were talking to. So in that respect, I think it's kind of disappointing, because I think a job like Michigan State, it's not going to be a fun job. But I'm sure there were people that were competent, good athletic directors that were ready to take that job if they were to get the call. And I don't know if they were bypassed. I don't know if they were given interviews. Nobody really knows exactly who was interviewed when. But Michigan State has gone forth and removed the interim tag and just made Beekman the full-time AD.
Yep. So, that's right. We were gonna grade Ziggy Ansah and Bill Beekman. Hold on.
Pencils down, everyone. It's time to find out what's your grade.
So we apologize for skipping the grade of Ziggy Ansah not being extended. So
I'll go with that one first. The grade on that, I'm going to give that one an A-, because there's nothing to tell me that Ziggy Ansah, at this point, with his injury history and his performance, is worthy of maybe the long-term extension that he is seeking. I don't know how far apart they are in numbers, but obviously players have an idea of what their worth is, teams have another. And it's far enough apart now that the Lions are basically saying, we're not going to try to negotiate this any further. And like I said, the body of work for Ziggy Ansah it's a rough go. He's been hurt. His performance has lagged due to that. And as a team that is trying to get better and trying to model itself after the franchise that many of their new front offices has worked for before, the New England Patriots, it makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. So for me, it's an A- because I just don't think extending him, even though it's a position of need, they're not going to overextend themselves at that position, because they have a lot of other places that are significantly worse that need some upgrading. And even though defensive end is probably one of the premier positions now in the National Football League, I just don't think Ziggy Ansah is there yet as far as a top defensive end. Now, he might surprise everybody this year, go through it healthy and have a monster year, but that's a big gamble when you're signing a long-term extension with those guys, especially a guy like Ziggy Ansah. So I'm going to give that one an A-.
good points. And now back to Bill Beekman. What's your grade on him being named the permanent AD by MSU?
I'm going to give this one a B-. It really has nothing to do with Bill Beekman's ability to do the job. I'm sure that he got put in the interim position because they thought he could do it. and now he's going to be the full-time AD instead of the interim AD. But at the same time, it's a little bit disappointing for folks that follow Michigan State, simply because this national search that they said they were going to get underway didn't really materialize, at least not in the public eye. And that's something that probably bothers a lot of people that follow Michigan State athletics, that are members or alumni of Michigan State. They're people that are involved in the university's inner workings. They thought, when you're talking about this Michigan State job, the goal for Michigan State is to really move forward from the scandals that have plagued the university for the last couple of years. And when you're hiring a guy that was present for that, it just sends the wrong message to people that says, hey, we said we were going to do this national search, but we really didn't. We already kind of had him in mind. Not that he can't do the job, but it's really just giving the appearance of we're just going to throw these people in here as quickly as possible and try to make things work just as they were before. Well, just as they were before wasn't very good. And so Beekman's going to have a lot of work to do to show that he was the right choice. And that's why I'm giving it that grade of a B-, because he's going to have to do a lot of work to prove that he was the right guy for the job, that he can work past the scandals that have rocked the university for the last couple of years, and get that athletic department back into a positive viewpoint in the public eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those are the grades thus far. So we're going to transition to the Detroit Tigers.
That one is long gone.
They get swept by the Tampa Bay Rays at Tropicana Field, and then they lose the first two games, 3-0 and then 9-1 at Minute Maid Park to the defending world champion Houston Astros. They salvaged the third and final game of the three-game series by teeing off on their former Tiger starting pitcher, Justin Verlander, 4 times, one by Candelario, one by John Hicks, I think, one by Jim Adducci, starting to get back on track. Nico Goodrum hits his 9th of the year. Candelario's got 13 home runs. They don't exactly have home run power, but sometimes they Candelario and Goodrum both do. But sometimes they do intend to hit home runs whenever they feel like it. That's the visual approach.
It was a strange line score for Justin Verlander.
He's better than that.
12 strikeouts. Yeah, 12 strikeouts, but gave up 4 home runs. I mean, it was just one of those days for Justin Verlander where he made the mistake at the wrong time, and it ended up costing him. But he was fairly dominant outside of those at-bats. Like I said, striking out 12 batters. But the Tigers were able to capitalize on the mistakes that he made, and they were able to make him pay with each and every one of those, and they ended up getting the win today. The Tigers are the Tigers. Not very good, but today was their day, and I'm sure it was a little bittersweet for Verlander to face his former team. Now, he had the choice. He could have skipped the start today and pitched in the All-Star game. He chose not to do that. Chose to face the Tigers lineup today and basically take himself out of the All-Star game as far as pitching is concerned, and ends up taking the loss today. But as you mentioned, the Tigers had a rough week, as their weeks have gone in the last month or so. And they end up salvaging one, like you said. But they were thoroughly mastered yesterday by Garrett Cole in that 9-1 loss.
Mm-hmm.
And these struggles are going to continue. I mean, you're going to have these games where they'll jump up and bite you, but by and large, they're not a power hitting, home run hitting team.
No.
This is kind of an anomaly, but they can't lose them all. And today is one of those cases where they couldn't lose. They ended up winning this game today. Shane Green came in the ninth inning, trying to knock some rust off before the All-Star break. Gave up a lot of hard-hit balls, but only gave up one run, and they ended up sealing the win.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And earlier this morning, Jeff Moss was ripping 97 Won the Ticket and Tigers fans for thinking that Ron Gardenhire should be the AL Manager of the Year. If they're one of them said he should if they finish the season close to 500.
You stupid.
Man.
Yeah, it's tough for me to say Ron Gardenhire is the Manager of the Year when he was putting Victor Martinez in the 4th spot for so long. And Ron Gardenhire is not a bad manager. You can tell that the Tigers, the younger players, have responded to him, and they're trying their best, which some days is not very good. But at the same time, Ron Gardenhire is the Manager of the Year. I mean, can you imagine? Let's say they went, 76 and 86. That's not a Manager of the Year record. I mean, getting them close to 500 doesn't mean that he should be the Manager of the Year.
Right.
Because there's plenty of guys that are get their teams to better records with maybe a little bit better rosters, but still, to say that Ron Gardenhire should even be in the running for Manager of the Year is pretty laughable. Like I said, I don't think he's done a bad job. I don't think he's done everything that Tigers fans have expected out of him. Like I said, the Victor Martinez thing and other things like putting guys in the bullpen in bad positions. But overall, I don't think he's been a terrible manager. But Manager of the Year, that's way off. Not close. I mean, for him to be Manager of the Year, they'd have to make the playoff. That would be a Manager of the Year type year.
By a long margin. Take the Boston Red Sox, their next opponent, which is not until Friday. The Red Sox are 68-30. 68-30.
Holy jumping!
They lead the American League East. They apparently have the best record in the American League, maybe Major League Baseball, to be honest with you. My God. 38 games over 500. That is elite.
Yeah,
and they're gonna come into Detroit and scorch the Tigers. Period.
Yeah, and they even though they've struggled over the past month, they still are head and shoulders above the Tigers. Now, granted, their rosters way better too, but I mean, up and down the lineup, obviously a superior team, but still, to be 38 games over 500 at the All-Star break. That is Manager of the Year type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of stuff that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Getting teams to excel when they're not supposed to. The Tigers right now, managers that are Manager of the Year don't go through 11-game losing streaks. They don't bat Victor Martinez fourth.
Right. They don't bat over the hill, designated any over the hill hitter in any position in cleanup. Not when he's not, especially when he's not producing enough. That's the point. And then I heard earlier the past week that Tigers right fielder Nick Castellanos is now in trade talks along with Michael Fulmer. Now, first of all, that's just baffling on one end, but on the other end, it does make some sense, not a whole lot, but some sense, because I'm pretty sure there's at least some teams in Major League Baseball, unlike the Tigers, some teams in Major League Baseball at least, that can develop Nick Castellanos' defense, that can fix his decaying hole in his area.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, Nick Castellanos, as far as trade value, we've talked about that as well. It's been a past topic. I mean, Michael Fulmer and Nick Castellanos, obviously the two guys on this team that probably can net the biggest return. It doesn't surprise me that they're being talked about, but at the same time, for Al Avila, you're basically trying to hit the jackpot. You're basically trying to find a team that's willing to part with
Al Avila. Yeah, the same guy that blurred out that Ron Gardenhire should be AL Manager of the Year. That's what I heard from 97 won the ticket. That is just 10 times more baffling than that. But go on.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unheard of for guys to be talked about in trade talks. Michael Fulmer is a guy that has been mentioned as a possible trade.
Plenty of times, yeah.
Plenty of times, but again, he's under team control. There's still a lot of potential with him. He's struggled this year, but that does not mean that they're just going to go ahead and outright trade him for a bag of hammers. I mean, same thing with Nick Castellanos. Yeah, he stinks in right field, but he's still a competent hitter.
Yeah.
The problem is they have to find a spot for him. And if I'm a team that's going to trade for him, he probably can't play right field for me. I know he can't play third base for me. And so basically you're trading for a designated hitter. And you're not going to give up a lot to get a designated hitter. Not in today's game. 20 years ago, they probably could have got a whole haul for him. But that's not how Major League Baseball works anymore. So, yeah, they'll flash him out there and say, hey, what are you going to give me for him? But, I mean, unless it's just some blockbuster offer that they can't refuse, it would be hard for me to see that Nick Castellanos is going to be traded. He's still under team control as well. So it's really hard for me to think that they're going to get a whole haul for Nick Castellanos, especially with the way that he's played defensively this year and in years past at his other position. It would be surprising to me to see him traded. But again, you always have to gauge on what you can get. And I think Al Avila is doing his job at that point, finding out what he can get for those players. It doesn't mean he's going to trade them. It just means that he's trying to see if there's anybody that's willing to bet the farm and see if they can make a deal. But unless it's an outstanding return, I don't think either of those guys are going to get traded. And I would say that probably Michael Fulmer has a better chance of getting traded than Nick Castellanos at this point. And that's not saying much.
Right. So the Tigers put Nick Castellanos on the market anyway. And that's where it leads to.
Pencils down, everyone. It's time to find out what's your grade.
And what's your grade on the Tigers putting Nick Castellanos on the trade market?
Well, I would grade this a B, because you have to find out what's out there. I mean, you're not doing your job if you're not trying to figure out what you can do to make this team better. Taking out their best hitter in the lineup isn't exactly optimal, but at the same time, you're not expected to contend. You're not in a contending position. And if you can get a great haul with maybe an MLB-ready guy, maybe you go ahead and do it. But at the same time, there probably are not a lot of teams lining up to give them the whole shebang for Nick Castellanos. It's just not going to happen, especially with the way he's performed defensively. It takes a lot of National League teams out of contention because you have to play him in the field if he's in that league. And you're not going to trade for a guy who's going to be taking at-bats in a platoon sort of situation. If you're an American League team, yeah, you can put him at DH, but if you're the Tigers, do you want to see him for a couple of years while you're trying to build up your team? And so it's a really tough position for Al Avila because obviously he has to find out what those values are, take the temperature of all those teams. But it's just going to be real difficult to trade him and get what you think is an adequate return. So I'm giving it a B because you do want to find out what he's going to be able to bring back in the trade, but I'm just not going out there any takers, I'm going to need a substantial return. I just don't think Nick Castellanos can bring that.
All right. Only one event to grade left, and that is...
Pencils down, everyone. It's time to find out what's your grade.
The Red Wings re-signing Anthony Mantha to a 2-year, $6.6 million bridge deal, which is kind of like Andreas Athanasiou. What's your grade on the Mantha re-signing?
I'm going to give that one an A-. Slightly above what Athanasiou got, and Mantha being a better producer as far as points goes. He's a first-round draft pick. He's a guy that they're trying to make a linchpin or a cornerstone of this organization. And as you mentioned, it's a 2-year bridge deal, which makes sense because even though Anthony Mantha is considered to be one of the pieces in that next core, that next foundation of the franchise, that does not mean you go out and spend a ridiculous amount of money on him because you think he's going to be able to produce for the next 4 or 5 years. It's a good deal for the Red Wings. It's a good deal for Mantha. And at the end of these next 2 seasons, if they think that he's worth a big-time extension, he can get it. If he doesn't prove that he is, well, then you didn't really lose a whole lot. So it's not a big cap hit, $3.3 million a year on the cap. And he's going to get a chance to further his game and really start to work towards being one of those foundational players that the Red Wings need in this rebuild.
Right. So that's our What's Your Grade segment. So for our audience, if they have a grade for each event in this episode, post them in the comment bank, and please don't go out of line. That's episode 324 of the Week in Review. Before we sign off, I want to remind everyone to share this episode and our entire podcast on social media and have their friends share that as well, because we want to tell them that the Michigan Sports Truth podcast is searching for a wider online audience that is fans of sports. So please spread the word about the Michigan Sports Truth podcast on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, via iTunes and Spotify, its Facebook page, and its Twitter handle at Michigan_Truth. I'm Taylor Phillips. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips and Buck Geno at Buck Geno III, 3 I's for Roman numerals. We'll talk to you next week on episode 325 of the Week in Review. Thanks. Yep. Thanks very much for listening, downloading, and sharing. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
The Michigan Sports Truth podcast does not represent or defame any of the teams it covers. It only detects, exposes, and reveals honest, actual, and hidden truth, facts, and statistics about them.
Mission complete.